Democracy, but sadly far too few people vote. For the past 3 decades, voters have been disproportionately of higher income, older or more partisan in their interest. Parallel to participation gaps are widening gaps in wealth, reduced opportunity for youth, and frustration with the polarization in politics. How will our world be different if everyone participated? Well, that's a probing question. Those who want your vote never tell you about themselves, their background, ideology, thinking, manifesto, policy for the future because they don't think it's important. And why should they tell you any of the plans anyway? When they get elected, they aren't bringing the moon and stars down for you. They only want your vote on the basis of slogans and picture or two. And that forms the basis of our discussion this morning. If you missed at the top of the hour, we already introduced our guests who are already in the studio with us, who will take us through to make us understand or drill deeper on the power of your vote. How key and how pivotal is your vote as a citizen? Of course, that's your voice that you get in every cycle of the given 5 years that we have domiciled in the Constitution when we come to elections. And of course, I want to introduce our panelists this morning. We have with us Avril, a performing artist and actress. Also, we have with us Rafton, a performing artist as well. We have with us as well Mbuvi, performing artist. We have as well Kanjii Mbugua, performing artist, and Suzanna, performing artist as well. Good morning, Wasanis.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on AM Live this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Right. Let's just get straight to it. The power of your vote, we've seen, and I think some Wasanis here also, they have some leanings on some parties. It could be Jubilee or NASA. We've seen some of them. People of the Wiper Party or people of... right? So when it comes to the power of your vote and the ongoing exercise of the voter registration, do you think there has been a slow uptake, and are people doing or going to vote or register as a voter, under the wire, the pressure? So we have an extension of 3 days right now. What would be your take? Let's begin with Avril. She was here very early.
Yeah, I was here very early. IEBC gave a cap of about 6 million, hoping to register about 6 million voters in Kenya, but they've fallen short about 4 million below what they wanted to do. It's quite sad that we have to be reminded of the democracies that we have. We have to keep on being reminded of what our objective is in society. Yes. And I feel like this time around it's been very vocal because of the past experiences that we've had as a society, as Kenya. So it is sad that the uptake has been quite slow. And for me, I feel like this messaging needs to happen more and more. Yes, the courts prolonging the amount of time for IEBC to carry out voter registration should not happen in the first place. Why? Because we knew we were supposed to have registered. I registered last time around. I went to check my vote again to see if it's still valid, and it was. Why is it that we have to keep on being reminded of our civic duty as Kenyans? For me, I just feel like it's very sad. It's quite sad.
Do you think it's because of the Kenyans? They have that apathy, or because some of the institutions like the IEBC, they're not really doing their job? Because many of the Kenyans, they don't know that domicile in the Constitution is a fact that we have a continuous voter registration, Kanjii.
Well, I think for me, the apathy, I think is just I think is symptomatic. I think when you look at especially young people, I think there's like 4 million new voters or something crazy like that. Who, guys who have entered that voting age, and these guys are, quite apathetic about it, and they're like, I'm not interested. But when I was thinking about it, having a conversation with a friend of mine, and it's not that it's something new, by the way, because we're having this conversation. I was like, okay, when you were 18, were you concerned about elections? Did you even understand? You were interested in the hanye and girls and that, that was it. Yeah. So I think there's a huge part of maybe building the communication, helping people have a sense of urgency, and maybe showing, because talking to a 30-year-old versus talking to an 18-year-old are two very different propositions. Yes. And just figuring out how do you get the young people involved in what is really your rights as a citizen of this country. But I think it's not you know, we are saying there's apathy, but it's and for sure there's performance-based apathy, there's communication. Maybe I don't know what guys have been doing, and so I feel I'm disconnected to it and everything. You know, but I think at the end of the day, you know, we've got to be, you know, we've got to do a better job at convincing people that it's important for them to do it. Yeah.
You're right. Boom,
it's crazy. We have to get to a place where we are convincing people.
It is, isn't it?
It is crazy.
Yeah.
But I also think, I don't know, you talked about a disconnect, and I think there's the way politics runs in this country at times can make you, if you're a young person, to just switch off from it. Because you're not saying, we're talking about, yes, people should have seras. How many seras have you had guys saying ati tutafanya hii na tutafanya hii? It's just a back and forth. So guys are like, I don't want to be involved. Yeah. They don't realize they still have power now to change that whole lot of guys who should be in power. And I'm trying to remember, forget even about 18. I think we have a problem from even younger. When you're doing exams, you'd study last minute, usiku ya mwisho. So we are so used to last minute and extensions. Maybe one day we should just come and say no extensions, and that's it. Then guys know, this is serious. If a date is set like this, it is serious. Then from the onset, instead of gathering people, whatever camp you're in, to get one guy to sing for this, nothing wrong with that. One celeb to be associated with that. Maybe even go it more. Let a little bit of civic education go down, especially through the guys that people connect with in one. You know, if I go huko nyumbani and I say kwata kawa, they connect. Suddenly by the way, kwata kakura is very nice for you. The way say you can change all our and how quickly we are one. Make interpretation hapo chini.
Subtitle.
So yeah, I think maybe we need to take better measures in educating people from right after this tunafanya 2017, right immediately after, all through. Watu wajuenya hii kitu ni kitu for life, not for just the 5th year of election. Maybe that will change our mindset. We need a mind shift.
Simongea. Bwana sio wote.
Hallelujah.
Okay, now for me, I think it's a culmination of many complications. One, I must say that there's a generation that felt that politicians let them down. So this generation is the same generation. As you can see in our panel, we have different generations. Mpaka to Avril. So if, for instance, Suzanna was disappointed and Rafton was disappointed, now we could be having this conversation in our houses and there are no cameras. By the time Avril is listening to our conversation, she's like, if Suzanne is complaining, Rafton and Mbuvi same to Kanjii, then when it comes to time for me to vote, I won't, because they cannot all be wrong. So there are youth who feel politicians, as I said it before, use them as bricks to construct these big political palaces. And then once they're in power, they disconnect with them. So they just feel we are fuel driving this jet, taking people to their destinations. And they don't value us once they've touched down at their destiny. Right. And that's why many young people have this disconnect. Two, as Kanjii and Mbuvi has said, I think even the IEBC needs to be more vigorous as far as the publicity is concerned. It doesn't have to be in an election year, as Kanjii has put it, if it's a continuous registration.
To rush Kenyans.
You understand? You need to have a budget for an annual budget for voter activation and registration. Kenyans, particularly now that the youth are like 65 to 70% of the population, they like it when things are packaged in a cool manner. You could have a bad thing, sorry to say this, but some of the beer commercials, you know, it's about making you get drunk. But they bring it forth. Every teenager finds themselves, that's a temptation. How can I say no to a bottle? It's just because the packaging has been done aggressively and it's actually very tempting. So for voter registration, which is very important in this country, it shouldn't be done in a very formal manner. It should be changed from that to something that the youth want to jump on board. And then lastly, Michael Joseph said that Kenya, we are a peculiar generation, or we are peculiar people. And that's exactly what we are used to. Even me, nimekuja Nandai, karibu kufika nation ndio nikakanyaga. Ndio nisichelewe, unani understand? But I was all along just taking breakfast in my ride. So that culture also, we have to come against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I would like to second what they've all said. And like Rafton said, we are a peculiar nation, you know. And really, it's quite unfortunate that we have to be pushed. Something like voter registration should be an individual responsibility. And to me, I look at it as a long process, you know, and we are the same people, you know, Kenyans, we love this last minute, you know, last minute rush.
Yes.
And if we can change that habit, it's with everybody. We've seen, I mean, we are always the last people to do something, you know. I think that is something we need to change, because each and every individual has a democratic right to I mean, they have the right to practice their democratic right. Yeah.
Thank you.